what I'm going to do is do roll call, and I'm going to start way over. And Councillor Manzer is here.
Here.
Councillor Tudor is here.
Ready to go.
Manager of Corporate Services, Coralie is here. Manager of Municipal Services, Tyler is here. I'm actually here. The CAO, Jeff is here. Our Pat is here under the Executive Assistant. Councillor Tudor is here as a counselor. Councillor Thurber is here as a counselor. I really like you enough, David. I want you twice.
That's so great.
Deputy Warden Ross is here. What I would like to do is a little different tonight. As we seek guidance, I like us sort of to pause in memory of Alfred as well. He was a great employee, a great man. I've known Alfred since the late 80s, and he will be sadly missed here.
He was always extremely caring and sensitive to the struggles of the people in my district, and many times helped out.
So that's all. I'm only asking if people would just take that few minutes to reflect as well. So if we would pause now. And now we will do the reading of the mission statement. To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs by preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. Now, next, is there any additions or deletions for the agenda? Hearing none, would someone like to approve the agenda as presented?
A motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is delegations or presentations. There is none for this evening. So next is the minutes of April 26, 2022. Is there any errors or omissions?
I move approval of the minutes for April 26, 2022.
I'll second it.
Okay. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Is there any unfinished business from the minutes of April 26? Anyone would like to bring forward and ask questions on? Okay, hearing none, we will go on with the CAO reminders, but I do want to ask a question, but I'll go through it first. June 7th is Public Works, June 14th is Committee of the Whole. June 21st there is no meeting, June 28th is Council. July the 5th is Bylaw and Policy. July the 12th is no meeting, July 19th is the audit, and July 26th is council. And the reason I just wanted to bring something up, usually in the summer, we do not have a council meeting in July. We have a committee of the whole, and in August we have no committee of the whole and a council meeting in August.
So you've got them mixed up. We always do council in July, and we do committee of the whole in August. But you were right, we take one meeting off, so that's why we have no committee of the whole booked for July.
Okay.
We do
I'm going to be gone one of the weeks in August.
because we have to pass the statements that Grant Thornton that we do with the audit committee, so that's why we have council in July, and then August we do the committee of the whole.
Okay. I just
Are those dates set yet, even though they're not on this schedule? Like, if I'm going to be gone for a week in August, is there any way we could have, I don't know if it's not a problem, if that week could be the week that we don't have the meeting? I'm just wondering if it's possible.
What week are you talking about?
I'll ask my wife and get the exact date.
So our committee of the whole is the second Tuesday of the month, right?
Okay. That might be the one I might be missing there.
Okay.
I'll be away that one too.
I'll ask my wife what it is and just check it. I don't like
So we will check and send me emails, please. Me and Jeff.
Me and Angela will run that meeting right through in 15 minutes.
Don't I count?
How about for passing the motion?
Oh, okay. The next is any action items from previous minutes. Okay, update on capital projects. As of today, we actually went through our capital budget. Is there any questions? We discussed everything. Okay. The financial report, there was no motions. And we were set, was that sent out or it was for our budget?
I haven't printed it from the budget set.
Okay.
So once that's set, I'll print that off for you guys and you can see in comparison the numbers.
Thank you. I just thought I was being lost because I was doing a whole whack of stuff when I got back. The next then is standing committee items, bylaw and policy recommendations. First is the PACE bylaw. And this was discussed from the bylaw and policy. And we are going to start off with the first reading for the PACE. So if someone would like to move what is been
I move to approve the first reading of the updated PACE bylaw 2016-01.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion or comments? This is really an update. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next was to approve the occupational health and safety policy. Is there a mover for this?
I motion to approve the occupational health and safety policy HW-3000-04.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next is the Digby Area and Housing Coalition letter of support. Do we have a mover?
I move that we provide Digby and Area Housing Coalition a letter of support
In their endeavor?
in their endeavor to buy the
Siesta Motel.
Okay, yeah, okay, the Siesta Motel. Oops, for affordable housing.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. From the Committee of the Whole, we have the Digby and Area Health Services Charitable Foundation T-Box.
I'll move that we approve $125 for T-Box in the 7th Annual Richard Ellis Memorial Golf Tournament to be held on June 23rd, 2022.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay, and this, actually, the money raised from this is to help with new machinery needed at the hospital for patients. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is actually business items with reduction in taxes.
Might I interrupt just for 1 second?
Certainly.
I would like to just say Nicole was super on the ball. It was like a couple of days after the fire, the house fire. They didn't have to request it. She did it on her own. I'm just really impressed with the whole thing. I thought it was really excellent and quick and efficient and unasked besides. So it was a good job.
As I was going to say, due to fire damages, they're asking for a reduction in taxes. So I would like someone to move the first one with the AAN 049777939.
How about I just run through all four of them?
No, one at a time.
Okay.
It has to be done.
I move the reduction.
Just read it right there.
Move to approve a property tax reduction of $1,481.94 due to fire damage April 14th, 2022 on AAN 049777939 May Hill, 14 East Road, Old Post Road, Smiths Cove, with a reduction effective April 2022.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Any concerns or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The second one for the account 101908278.
I move to approve a property tax reduction of $129.30 due to fire damage January 3rd, 2022 on
Slow down,
AAN
please.
019-08278 Richard N. Morgan, 1097 Morganville Road, Morganville, with the reduction effective April 2022.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the reduction in taxes due to fire damage of 017733305.
I move to approve a property tax reduction of $186.01 due to fire damage April 28, 2022 on AAN 01773305, William Graham, 6984 Highway 217, Lake Midway, with a reduction effective April 28, 2022.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the reduction in taxes due to fire damage at 036311788.
I'll move to approve the property tax reduction of $290.64 due to fire damage May 13th, 2022 on AAN number 036311788, Carolyn J. Penny, Perry, 3379 Highway 217, Tiverton, with the reduction effective May 13th, 2022.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is our operational budget.
That's me.
All right, Ashley
Alright,
Corliss.
so I did put a package on your guys' desk.
Yes.
It's probably easier to follow along on the screen for this one, just because I have included some other information that you have seen at other meetings, just so you can have the whole package. So for tonight, we'll go through on the screen. The first page is basically just a summary of how this budget has been prepared in consideration of the vision of the municipality's council strategic priorities. It just gives you a little bit of a highlight there of that report. So our statement of estimates was prepared with no changes to our residential tax rate, keeping it at $1.30 and a commercial rate of $1.85. The statement of estimates is proposing an increase of approximately 9% in revenues and expenses from the one last year, 2021.
These were a big number.
Big numbers this year, yeah. Obviously, like, everything's been going sky high in expenses and assessments, so it's worked out quite well for what we've had to deal with. So 8.8 is basically where we're at with the tax revenue. And like I said, moved to the market and increased in assessments. And that the municipality has been able to keep their tax rate the same for the past 16 years.
Woo!
We did see an increase in residential, resource, and commercial. Last year we would have been looking at about 2.8, and this year it's the 8.8 as mentioned. Page 3 is basically just the budget highlights. It kind of breaks it down with the strategic plan just to show you each area and how we're focused on each of your priorities. We're still dealing with the impact of COVID-19, so this budget actually has a lot of our numbers that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Do we normally have this sort of document with the differentiation with our priorities and the stuff underneath? I feel like that's new.
Yeah, no,
Oh, no? I just liked it. Okay, sorry.
and that
sorry
is included in your package there too for reference. So yeah, a lot of our accounts have had to return to pre-COVID amounts just because things are opening up and moving along. The next page, we just get into just a straightforward couple pie charts, one for expenses, one for revenues, just to kind of break down by category what percentages, just for your information. Some of this information will actually go out in the coastline.
Yeah, I like this in the coastline. Is there any way we could give a little more detail, like what protective services is, for the community, maybe a little bit?
I think we did try to do that last year, but it's very limited on how much we can fit in there. But
Okay.
we can have a look at it.
Okay, that's okay.
So then the next page is the revenue side of that. After that, there's just a chart showing what the mandatory expenses for provincial services. So this is 35% of our total expenses. So it's around 3.6 million. So it gives you a breakdown there of how that looks. The next chart is a chart of how your tax dollars are spent. So basically just an example of if your home was averaged around $100,000, how your tax bill would be broke down. And it does factor in if you have a fire area rate and a streetlight area rate. And the next page is basically a summary of all of our revenues for the year, broke down by categories, and I'm not going to really get into this one because it does further break it down on the following pages. So the first category, tax revenue. So we are up 716,000 basically this year from last year. We have put in, just as a couple highlights, our unified sewer rate, $225 a year for connected service, $75 per year for frontage. We have increased tax revenue from the industrial park construction, and we have increased deed transfer tax due to our continuing market boom. Our grant in lieu of taxes, not a lot of change. We're up around $4,000 on that one. Next page, we have our services provided to other governments. Not a lot of change there, up around $303. And then we have sales of service with our hangar rents and dispatch services. And that one is up $8,600. And then we have revenue from owned sources. We're down in this one by $17,500. And just as a note that in this category, we do have our proposed marketing levy to put in place during 22-23. Next page, unconditional transfers from other governments. We are up $49,000 in that category. That one's pretty straightforward, same as what we usually have in there. Conditional transfers from other governments, we're up $221,300. In this one, it is a huge increase, as you can see from last year. And we do have the municipal floodline mapping project included in this category, so that brings that up considerably. We do have our asset management plan funding and the trails as well. Then we have our transfers from owned reserves, down $26,000 from last year. You can just see a list there on the side of all the transfers that we plan to get there. That sums up our revenues. Then we have the next page, again, it's our summary for the expenses, and that is summed up on the following pages. First category being general government services. So our proposed budget is up $157,662. Continue with the low income tax rebate with the $250 to $500 rebate, and of course adding it up to $29,000. Protective services, we are up $300,625. We have an RCMP increase this year, it's fairly large, 11.04%. And we also have our WCB coverage being provided to all volunteer fire departments included in there. Next page.
I like the cat control.
Dog and cat control.
Cats are a problem. They're roaming the streets.
Everyone laughs until your elderly neighbor dies and there's 74 cats in the house.
Only 74?
All right, the next page, transportation services. We are up $3,289 on that page. Environmental health services, we're up $50,890. And then our public health, they basically give us an estimate of what our deficit is going to be, the high and the low. So our high this year was 41, so we brought that down 3,000. The next page, environmental development services, we are up $262,993. We do have our year 2 projected for the Digby Harbor Port Association project. Again, the municipal floodline mapping project is included in that, and our proposed marketing levy, asset management plan, and EV charging expenses. Recreation and culture services, we're up $14,000 basically. Within this one, you can see the list there. We did reinstate the Registered Heritage Church grant program, so that's new in there for this year. Education, we're up $37,928. 2.4% increase, so it wasn't quite as much as last year. Last year we had 3.4. And then we've got a list there of our financing and transfers. We're up $82,500, and you can see the list there. It's pretty basic compared to what we usually do, with the addition of the $15,000 that we are putting away for year 1 of 2 for the Splash Park project. And then the last page, just a little chart there to show you what our debt repayment schedule looks like with the principal and interest payments. We have our sewer project, we pay $110,000 principal. That's going to be paid off November 2023, and then we have the Mount Pleasant wind turbine, $69,000 principal, and that will be paid off May 2026.
None of these are floating interest or anything like that, are they?
The interest has been scheduled like for the entire term. It
Okay.
does change, but we don't control it.
Okay, so it won't be.
I do have the figures already presented, so they're going down every year.
Oh, good.
So our total principal payment's $179,000. And then, of course, we have, you guys have seen this document, just a breakdown of our revenues and expenses. And that is also included in your package. And that is all I have, unless there's anything.
Does anyone have any questions for Coralie? Excellent presentation.
Yeah, very good.
Nice boss.
So now, where this is our operating budget, I think we can now approve it. So, I was gonna say, so someone would like to move the motion?
I motion to approve the 2022-2023 operating budget in the amount of $10,295,878.
I'll second that.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next will be the tax rate resolution. So would someone like to?
I motion to approve the tax rate resolution for 2022 to 2023.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the Westport Fire Department loan. And they have followed the things they had to do. So there's a recommendation to approve a loan of $50,000 to the Westport Fire Department to be paid over the next 10 years back to us. So if someone would like to make that a motion?
I move that we approve a loan for $50,000 to the Westport Fire Department to be paid back over the next 10 years.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next is the second reading of the dog control bylaw.
I motion to move to approve the final reading of the dog control bylaw.
And is there a seconder?
Second that.
Any discussion or concern?
Oh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next business is the data letter on the levy, which we have had a discussion on with data, and from what I have gathered, we will be going forward now with everything in place, with the starting, with the possibility of starting on January 1st is what the decision has been made, so
Good
that there
job,
will be
guys.
lots of time for the levy.
Good job.
Lots of time for the levy. Thank you.
Yeah, really good job.
We met today. I thought that the meeting went very well. Jeff, would you like to add anything to it?
So I guess separate from that, so this letter, so data is not clear in this letter. They have sent a copy to us and the town. So they are identifying a shortfall of $50,000. So we have reached out in advance of this meeting to the MLA to see if there are supports or what is available. I think as we have discussed before, that amount is far outside of our
Oh yeah, shit, 50 grand out of the blue? No way.
support for. So data certainly understands that, as I think you can see in the wording in the letter. So we are working on that, and as the warden said, there are ongoing discussions. There was a meeting today with us, the town and data, on continuing to move the levy conversation forward and just getting them through this season.
Delicate and difficult discussions as well, so really good job, guys. Like double, like I mean it.
So really, I don't really think there needs to be a motion because we've already.
Yeah, you'll hear back from me on this one when we hear back from the MLA.
Okay, the next is fire inspections. Now, as you know, that when we have just lost our fire inspector, and so our CAO and staff went to talk to other units who have graciously agreed to help us. And so we're asking, if everyone agrees, to appoint Daniel Cadet and Ryan LeBlanc as fire inspectors for the municipality of Digby.
Yeah, I move to appoint both Daniel Cadet and Ryan LeBlanc as fire inspectors for the municipality of Digby.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Is there any questions or concerns? And we're going to pass them to Jeff, and then Jeff wants to pass them somewhere else, he will. So go ahead.
These both fellows from the municipality of Clare? Are they from
Yes.
the St. Bernard Fire Department? I know Daniel, but I don't know the other.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure what fire department. So they both work for the municipality now.
Yeah, they both
So-
work for the municipality.
Daniel is their head building inspector.
Okay.
I think he's been there for about 5 years, and fire inspector. Ryan has been recently hired and is a fire inspector in training to be a building inspector.
Any other questions?
I'll make them go over and get it.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
The three Daniel
I
Cadets.
do want to make a comment. I am so happy that Claire was on board with helping us, the same as in the past. We've always shared this type of service back and forth. We have a good working relationship between the councils, but staff as well.
Yeah,
And
right on.
I always think that means a lot.
I've always thought well.
So my question is, and maybe it's inappropriate, but I would just like to have us send a letter to the Clare Council thanking them for helping us out in this difficult time.
Yeah, sure.
And if so, could someone make a motion?
I move that we send a letter to Clare Council thanking them for helping us in this difficult time.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. I just think, they went the extra mile I mean, they've always done that, but I mean, this has been special circumstances. Now, the next is the assessment management resolution. The following resolution was passed,
So I can give a brief summary if you
Go
want.
right ahead.
So it's a typo on the agenda. It's the asset management resolution. So basically, we're going to be applying for funding for a program. 80% of the cost is going to be covered under this program, and we're going to be responsible for the other 20%, which is that $9,220 you see there. So this is just something that the AIM network requires us to have signed by the warden and the CAO and to make this resolution. So I would need you to, or one of you to basically make the resolution by reading from here to here, essentially.
Yeah.
And then that it's resolved that we're spending the money.
Be it resolved, the council directs staff to apply for a grant opportunity from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program for an assessment management inventory and preliminary capital program. Be it therefore resolved that the municipality of the District of Digby commits to conducting the following activities in its proposed project submitted to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program to advance our asset management program.
And then
You
just,
have
and then
to-
just
Be it further resolved.
So number one, prepare an inventory of major assets including roads, sidewalks, sewer, trails, fleet, equipment, streetlights, windmills, facilities, and municipal-owned buildings and structures in spreadsheets and GIS. Number two, undertake condition assessments on all municipal infrastructure. Number three, prepare state of infrastructure reports, preliminary capital program, and fact sheets for public information. Be it further resolved that the municipality commits $9,220 from its budget toward the cost of this initiative.
Actually, I had the camera off. Could you read it again from the start?
Is there a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried.
Tyler, is this a continuation from the sewer thing we did?
Essentially, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah. It's just we don't need to handle ourselves. This is something they do on their own. It's an important point.
George was hoping for more workshops.
No. I was just gonna be sick if they had to have an input. Let you know that I was gonna be disposed.
Sure. You wanted more. Now,
He wasn't very good on the last.
under correspondence, we got a letter from Karen Furlonger about the shuttle service, and she made great comments.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
nice.
already responded to her and thanked her, but I felt it should go to council for all council to see. It's always nice when someone gives bouquets. And the next is the information on AQ, what he signed, 1039 agriculture license lease species amendment. And again, it was just to let us know what was happening. So then we are going on to our advisory committee minutes reports. First was the PAC April minutes. Does anyone have any questions? The next is the HAC motion. So that was moved that since there was no objection submitted in registering the Weymouth North Library as a municipal heritage property, it would be to register the Weymouth North Library with the land registry as a municipal heritage property. So in saying that, could I have someone from that committee move this? It's the Heritage Committee.
Me?
Go ahead, Landry.
Move that since there has been no objection submitted in registering the Weymouth North Library as a municipal heritage property, I move to register the Weymouth North Library with the land registry as a municipal heritage property.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. There was nothing under other council committees. Under our joint intermunicipal committee minutes reports was the Dark March minutes and Recreation Director, Facility Manager, and Active Living Coordinator April reports, King's Transit March in April minutes, General Manager, Finance, Physical End and Ridership reports, and General Manager May report. Then there was the Tyview Terrace February reports, and then Waste Check Regional Report, May meeting notes, and the May AGM meeting notes.
Richie's a fine guy, that Nickerson feller. He does some cleaning up. He does a lot of work for me. I want you to tell him that when you see him next time.
He does a lot of work for everyone,
Yeah.
and it's a standard joke at the meeting. They said, Linda, your favorite may not be here today, because I'm always bragging up Mr. Nickerson, because he does
He does a
do
good job.
a
He really
fantastic
does.
He told
job.
me today on the phone that he's got 5 days vacation coming up. I said, how did you get 5 days in a row?
But you know what he'll do on his 5 days vacation? Yeah.
Yeah.
They banned him from the office, but he still works from home. That's his vacation. He I mean, you know, and this is vacation he had to take or lose it.
But he's
To
got
me,
some good relationships with some of the landlords and stuff, and he does a good job. He really
Oh, he
does.
does.
It's just
Dewey's-
the other day he updated me on a project that we were working on, and nice and clean. It's like, man, I drove by it twice and it was a mess.
Oh yeah, I mean, his phone is on my speed dial, just under Jeff and Tyler. Because if I'm gonna whine, I'm gonna whine well.
Do we still have the same director at the King's Transit?
Every 2 weeks you should ask. If it isn't, I'm gonna be
Still the same one?
mortified.
Yes,
Oh,
he has He passes evaluation,
Yeah.
and he is really on the ball. I mean, before, when anyone even mentioned that we gave 3 days, and they all, he went and said, like, this is a great idea, it's a great I mean, and he listens to everyone, and he keeps everyone abreast of what's happening. Now, we figure it's only 2 more meetings, and then the new group will be taking over of mayors, and we will be kept abreast of what's happening, and wardens up there, because they're doing that full assessment. But they've had a harder time hiring people than they thought they would. So, yes, I find right now everything is on track with King's Transit, except our bus needs to be fixed again. But otherwise, and he keeps me abreast of stuff, and I send it on to Jeff if he hasn't sent it to Jeff. And he's pretty good about sending stuff to Jeff as well.
Yep.
So, there's definitely a communication improvement in the board.
It's a good thing.
King's Transit.
Yes. So next is outside boards, commission minutes, reports, which I didn't see any in. So we will go to councillor district activity reports, and we're going to start over here on this side, and we'll go with councillor Fairburn first.
Outside of the regular meetings, I attended the Tri-County Women's Center open house. I attended the housing committee meeting. They are working to get the Siesta Motel, and I think they were to find out today whether they were approved through CBDC for their funding.
Oh, okay.
I attended the Advancing Aboriginal Apprenticeship Conference at Pines last week, and that was interesting, and I did have a chance to talk with some of the people there about, the training, like for the snowplow drivers and stuff like that, and I actually got a woman's card, and she gave me some information to move that forward. And that's it.
Okay. Deputy Warden, Matthew?
Yeah, this month I was invited to give greetings to the Cardiologist Weekend Summit held here at the Digby Curling Club the weekend of April 30th. Many attended from around the province and had a great weekend. How did Saturday night go?
Very well.
That's good. I traveled to the South Shore to attend the first Spring Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities Conference, held in over 2 years, spent time talking with other councillors, and attended seminars on diversity, engaging community, and upcoming issues facing municipalities in the province. I was invited by the warden in her absence to speak at the re-grand opening of Sobeys on May 19th. Store manager Wendy LeBlanc presented a $1,000 check to the principal of the Digby Elementary School towards the breakfast program. I've made calls. I've met with constituents on various issues around the municipality, including the transfer station, a pothole in the sidewalk in Conway, grading dirt roads, PACE program, and attended many committee meetings. I would also like to take the opportunity to congratulate all the grads of 2022. I attended the Pines this year for their prom with my daughter, who was one of them, and I wish them all the best. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Manzer?
I also attended the Tri-County Women's opening, or their thing they had down at the NSCC building there. First, I went downtown to where their building, where their unit was, and I got there and everything was all vacant and no furniture inside or anything. So we ended up back down, and we tracked it down, found out where it was. The road calls have finished because the roads are all been graded, so there's nobody calling about roads anymore. A few unsightly properties things, so our new hire will get some experience in with the sightly and dangerous properties. And my regular monthly meetings, that's about it.
Thank you. And Councillor Tudor?
Housing issues, food banks up to $35, 35 children, yikes, but I hustle. Been talking to Jill Balser. I'm going to invite the Minister of Fisheries down, just like I did Jill Balser, to go out and see where they want to put the salmon cages. I had a disabled fellow, talking to his relative on the other side of the country, but we managed to find him a place to live. I've been dealing with the volunteer situation. A lot of the volunteer organizations are having troubles, including the villages and the fire departments, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to deal with each one individually, and I think I got the Freeport Village ones sorted. Next will be FCDA, and after that I'm going to focus on the fire department on the neck. I'm quite concerned about that department. There's only 4 people left. June 9th, I have the Harbor Authority. They're meeting to work together. That took a very easy, short 12 years. It still ain't happened yet. Boy, it better work out. I'm pretty confident on that, actually. And I joined Inspiring Communities. They're having real trouble finding someone down the islands and a male for the board, and so I fulfilled both those possibilities. So I just said, then I'll do it. So, yeah, just staying busy. Oh, and I met with the Village of Westport and Transportation Infrastructure Renewal. So I probably won't have a heck of a lot to say for our TIR since I already talked to them last week.
There's a first.
I have a couple things.
Now, I myself, I attended the State of the Province, and the Premier discussed various things that were happening in the province. Then I attended the spring workshop, which was well attended.
Where was that?
Pardon me?
Where was that?
I was in Liverpool.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Queens County. The sessions were good. I enjoyed the sessions, but it was being able to talk to fellow councillors, wardens, mayors, even staff. I mean, it was a great learning experience of I'm whining about this and they're whining about the same thing. Or this has been great and they, oh really, why? You know, this type of conversations took place. Also, I went to the Atlantic Recreation and Facilities Conference. That was a 4-day conference. That was a 5-day conference, 4 or 5. It was really busy. We were talking about various assessments being done, accessibility. They had great meetings, sessions, and what we did is there was 4 of us there, and we all did most of the time something different, or if it had nothing to pertain to us, then we would double up. And I actually brought up a lot of things already that I thought would be great, and Mike and I had done the same. Super good conference. Then I went to the Atlantic Mayors Congress, and it was really great. We listened. They brought in the municipal affairs deputy warden. They had the associate minister for immigration there.
You mean deputy minister, not deputy warden? You mean deputy minister for
Minister. I'm talking the people they brought in Newfoundland. One of the highlights to me was they were talking about bringing in the refugees coming in from Ukraine. And what they have allowed, and they said Winnipeg has been the other place, people that have got their pets with them are being allowed to bring their pets. And the associate minister said, sometimes you've got nothing left.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your
that
buddy.
cat or your dog or a
I'll
parrot or
do
whatever is the thing. And then remember, she said they've lost husbands, they've lost other children, people had to stay behind. And she said when it was brought forward to me,
You should write Jill.
I've already.
You already right on.
That's already being dealt with. Because I talked to her after that
Good
session.
job.
But she was saying that when it was brought forward to them in Newfoundland, the Fed said this never been done and it doesn't happen. But they were paying so much, the province are paying, and they said, no, we can do this. So they've been allowed, and they are allowing people to come in with their pets that are refugees from this. The only concern right now, a lot want to go home. They do want to go home as soon as they can.
Yeah, of course you would.
But then there's others that, and remember, they're only allowed to be in our country for 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
And others have already determined there's nothing to go back to. Everything's gone. Their family's gone. Everything's gone.
Places, yeah.
So they're working on getting them
Permanent.
in through the system so that they can become citizens. She talked for about an hour, and it was riveting. She didn't have to stop. And we had everything, and I will be sending you off the stuff, but we had really good sessions and really good discussions. There was some that spoke, and I told him I didn't agree with some of the things that he said, and I said, why? And he said, you're entitled to your opinion. And, not rudely, but I mean, there was a lot of excellent sessions. The other part of it was that I liked is we're all sitting around. We have a time to bring up what's in our areas. That's how I learned about what's happening up there. But we find that when things are sent off to the FCM, they end up being worked on. And they were explaining how they have been lobbying about this double tax, and it was listened to, and they're now going forwards with some other issues. And so it is an excellent committee to be a part of. I will say that. Otherwise, I have been dealing with a lot of concerns with people. A lot of concerns about animals. And I don't mean cats and dogs, but goats and chickens. And I have made calls, had made calls to agriculture, and then I've actually called the RCMP and various things. Plus, there's just been a lot of concerns that I've been dealing with this last month that could be really upsetting or annoying or cause a tragedy. So, otherwise, that's everything for me. Did anyone else need to bring up anything?
I move adjournment then.
No. We now have an in-camera item to go to. It's a personnel issue.
Okay.
So I would ask for someone to move that we go in camera.
I move that we go in camera.
Issue. And is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.